Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Tori Lynn. Let's blossom today. So today's video is me testing out an entire face of e.l.f. makeup. The only one product I didn't get, which I'll talk about later on, is a baking powder, but I got a setting powder, so I kind of just worked with it. But this entire face is brand new to me anyways. It's a whole new face of e.l.f. makeup. I really like how this look turned out. It's very pretty. It's got a nice soft nude eye with kind of a pop of color on the lip to just really make this, give it a little standout look. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And let's just get into the video so you guys can see what I got and what I feel about all these products. Alright guys, so I was actually going to film a chit chat, get ready with me quarantine edition, but I changed my mind because I sat down and I looked over and saw my bag of entire face or full face of e.l.f. makeup, brand new makeup that I purchased from Ulta probably a week or two ago. When I knew they were going to be closing, I had points, so I just went in and I bought a whole face of new makeup. I'm pretty excited about this just because I've never really tried e.l.f. makeup. I have a few lip products from them that I bought, actually I think they were given to me, but years ago. I talked about in one of my other videos that e.l.f. makeup to me used to be like play makeup, not something that I would ever wear as an adult. But in the last few years, they have seriously stepped up their game. So I thought I need to give this a try. I see a lot of positive things about e.l.f. on YouTube. A lot of influencers, try lots of their products and like them. So I thought, okay, let's try these products. So I bought an entire face. I bought foundation, concealer, primer, setting powder, blush, highlight, bronzer, mascara, lashes. I even brought a brow pencil, and y'all know if you've been on my channel for long that the Dip Brow Pomade from Anastasia is my absolute favorite. I rarely venture away from it, but I even brought a brow pencil. I tried to get some stuff that, like the lip color was something that I don't typically go for, so I tried to pick things somewhat out of my comfort zone that I still thought I would wear. Of course, when I picked my foundation, I kind of had to guess, and I don't know, that does like a little dark for me, but we'll see how it goes. We'll test it out. So let's just jump into the actual makeup portion. So the first thing obviously I'm going to be using is primer. This is the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. I wanted to try they have a new one, a pore filling one or something. I don't think this is it, but this is what they had at the store, at the Ulta I went into, so that's what I got. Try to get it out of the box. Oh, it's a little tab. I just threw the box on the ground. So it's just a matte putty primer. Maybe this is the primer I was thinking about. I've just have seen it. I feel like it was more pink toned though, but I've seen it all over social media, so I just I was gonna read, do the boxes have like instructions for them? Yeah, they do, and I threw the box on the ground, so give me a moment. Also, I was gonna say my hair looks crazy because I was gonna do that chit chat, get ready with me, so I had just showered, so I just threw my hair back just to get it out of the way, although this really cute bobby pin just hanging out over here. So it says, this mattifying skin perfecting putty primer has a velvet texture that glides effortlessly over the skin, smoothing over imperfections. So it says, apply a thin, even amount to clean, moisturized skin prior to makeup application. Allow to set for 30 seconds before applying foundation. Okay, so my skin is freshly moisturized and toned, so I'm just gonna go and kind of work my finger into the product. It's very not gooey but pasty. It's kind of a paste, so I'm just gonna kind of work this over my, actually I really do feel like that made my skin look more matte. I mean, look at that, it just instantly, I mean, it's not a complete, like, you know, matte. It's like a nice natural looking matte, so you still get a little bit of luminosity through your skin, but like I don't have near the amount of shine that I had before. Yeah, my nose looks just a lot matter than it did. I mean, it still has shine, like I said, but it doesn't look bad. As far as pore filling goes, sorry, I'm just getting a real close and personal down here. I don't really feel like my pores look filled in, but I do like the mattifying portion of it when I do the lid. There it is. Okay, so now I'm just gonna let that sit for 30 seconds. So the foundation has this little peel tab on the back. It was a little difficult to get off, but then I was also trying to twist, and I was like, dang, this thing is hard to twist. Guys, it's a pull cap, not a twister. But this foundation, I got the e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation. It's oil-free. It's supposed to be medium coverage, so that's good to know. I got the shade Light Ivory, which is a warm yellow undertones, and I don't know that I read that, although I do. My face has a lot of red pigment in it, but I go back and forth because like my shoulders and stuff look like they have a lot more yellow tone in them, so I always go back and forth about if I'm pink undertoned or if I'm yellow undertoned. I never know. But this just says for directions, apply a small amount starting at the center of the face and blend outward using fingertips or sponge or foundation brush. Layer is needed for more coverage. Okay, so it's saying it's a buildable coverage, which is good because I like my foundations to be a little more full coverage. I went with this one because this was the only one they had in the store. I'm pretty sure e.l.f. has more than one foundation, don't they? I did see on the back of this lid that they are cruelty-free, which is pretty great. But I'm just going to take my e.l.f. Total Face Sponge and just pump some on the back of it. Well, maybe, there we go. Now, I don't know how much I need, so I'm going to take a good couple of pumps here, and then I'm going to start by just dabbling that around. I know it said start in the center of the face, which is pretty much what they say for all foundations, but I'm going to do it the way I always do it. I feel like the color might be a little light, but I don't know, because then you get down in here and it looks like it blends pretty well. So I don't know, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on the shade, if I got the right shade or not. I didn't get the lightest shade. I think I got like 1 or 2 above the lightest shade. But you know, it's hard when you can't test out the foundations. Pick your own shade. Which is something I wish that Ulta, because you know, you go to a typical drugstore, you go to Walmart or whatever, you can't test out your foundations. That I understand. They don't want people, you know, ruining product that they're trying to sell. But at Ulta, where they have people there to test you, I feel like, and maybe they do and I just never knew about it, so I've never asked. But I feel like at Ulta, even on the more drugstore side, you should still be able to test out your foundation shade, you know, get shade matched or whatever. Because it's always hard. I mean, even, you know, looking through the glass or whatever, it's hard to tell what shade you need. So the foundation definitely has a nice satin kind of glowy luminosity finish to it. It doesn't look super matte. It's definitely really tacky. So that's something to be aware of. As far as the color goes, it may be a tad light, but I think with some bronzer and some blush and stuff, it's going to look okay. Now, I don't know if this oxidizes at all or how that goes. It has pretty good coverage for being a medium. What did it say? It was, yeah, medium coverage. It did say it was buildable, but I really don't feel like I need to build a whole lot. I mean, you can still see some of my natural texture, and I have some moles and stuff that you can kind of see. But even with full coverage foundations, I feel like a lot of times I can still see those. But I mean, it covered a lot of my red pigmentation, any hyperpigmentation I had down here from acne scars and stuff, really covered up pretty well. And I mean, even this red spot that I had on my chin, I just used what was left over on my brush. It covered pretty well. I mean, not amazing. It's not concealer, but so far I'm not hating the foundation. Obviously, I don't know how this foundation is going to wear, if it'll last long, especially on kind of a more oily skin, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and jump into concealer. This is the 16-Hour Camo Concealer. I got this in the shade Fair Rose, which Rose does have a kind of pink undertone to it. This says it's full coverage and matte. Camouflage those pesky spots and under eye circles with the high coverage, crease resistant. Ooh, that would be good. I mean, you can already see my foundation is settling in and making these nasty creases under my eyes. So, crease resistant 16-hour wear concealer. Apply concealer to desired areas. Pat out gently with your finger or a sponge or a smooth blend. Okay. I didn't buy baking powder, so I think that I'm just going to go ahead. I should have bought one, but like I was thinking just, you know, in the realm of setting powder. I don't know. I didn't think about it, so what I'm going to grab is I'm going to use my Coty Translucent because I know how this stuff sets. I know how this stuff works. Let's go ahead and open her up. This is what the container looks like. It says e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer on the top. Oh, she's got a nice big thick doe foot applicator, like tart shaped tape. Okay, so she's pretty thick consistency. I'm worried that maybe that was too much, but we're gonna go with it anyways. She's very thick. It's almost kind of a sticky thick. So blend it out really nicely. Definitely is very brightening. I feel like I kind of had almost a hard time moving it. I'm going to blend it out fine, but it didn't seem like I picked up a lot of extra onto my brush because usually I can kind of do under my eyes and then drag it down onto my lip and just, you know, instilling your product down there. And I felt like the product really stayed where I put it down. So it's, as far as crease resistant though, I don't know about that because I'm already getting creases under my eyes and the build-up crease in on my lids. So I don't know if that's once you set it if it's supposed to be crease resistant. But I mean, it looks really pretty. It's very brightening. I mean, it got rid of any dark circles or dark pigment I had under my eyes. I also did it in my smile line areas, and I do feel like it brightened that up as well. So I'm going to go ahead real fast and set it using my airspun powder. So now I want to go ahead and do my brows because it's just the point where I typically do them. So I got a brow pencil like I was saying. This is the Instant Lift Brow Pencil in the shade Taupe. This was not the lightest shade they had, but it was the second lightest. I just feel like because I have a lot of my natural roots showing, although when my hair is down and dry it's very blonde, I still have, you know, a couple inches of natural grow out. So I went with something in the middle. I do use Taupe as well in the Anastasia Brow Dip pomade. I'm like totally shredding this box on accident just because it's not opening very easy. It says the Instant Lift Brow Pencil shapes, defines, and fills in brows for a natural polished look. Okay, I'm just gonna take the cap off the back and use the little look at trying to get it out of like bent the little spoolie guy there. Is that straight? I don't know. I'm just gonna brush my brows out. It's a really soft spoolie. You know, some of them are kind of scratchy. This one is really soft. Okay. So this one's shaped like a pretty thick pencil though. So I'm going to toss my brows on and kind of let you guys know what I think when I'm all done, because I'm not the greatest with pencils and I'm not that good with brows to begin with, so it could take me a while. So I'll see you guys in a moment. So brows are difficult, but I didn't mind the pencil. It was a lot lighter than I'm used to. I'm used to a pretty full, thick, you know, dark brow. Most of the product I use is dark. It just builds pretty dark. Let's be real, my brows when I do them aren't natural looking, if you know what I mean. They don't look like brush strokes or hair strokes, you know, hair pieces. They look like a full thick brow. So I mean, this does a pretty good job. I struggled with it. It took me quite a while to get an okay brow, but I don't hate them. And the concealer, obviously I used it to clean up my brows, and it didn't do too bad of a job. I mean, it covered up my hairs pretty good, nice stray hairs that need to be waxed, but other than that, everything looks pretty good right now. Liking the brows. So let's go ahead and just move into the face, finish it off. So I'm going to be using the Sheer Tint Finishing Powder in the shade Fair Light. It says Beautifully Bare. I really do like their packaging, especially for this. It's got like this slightly matte metallic, which I know that sounds weird, but I guess metallic, kind of like dusty rose goldy shade. Oh, and this is just a beautiful, shiny silver compact. And so it comes with a nice mirror on the inside. Oops, I put my finger on. And then got the product. And then this lifts up for the sponge, which of course, I'm not going to be using the sponge. I'm going to try it with my brush that I typically like to use. This is, what is this? A Real Techniques 201 powder brush. I'm going to start by just buffing away the excess baking. And the product definitely built up in my creases, so I do not know that it's crease, what did it say? Crease something. Crease resistant. I'm not believing that one, but let's just go ahead and set her. So the coloring looks pretty good. I was worried that it was going to be too dark as well, or just not the right shade, just because, you know, it's hard. Sheer Tint Finishing Powder. What did that mean? I didn't even read the box, you guys. Create a fresh, natural glow with this lightweight tinted powder. This silky formula provides a light coverage, sets makeup, and helps mattify skin and minimize the appearance of fine lines. Okay. So it definitely has a nice matte finish, but it's not overly matte. I haven't used a pressed powder to set my makeup in such a long time. I used to use the L'Oreal Infallible Pressed Matte Powders to set my face for a really long time. And then I just somehow got in the swing of just using my baking powder, my translucent powder, to set my whole face, and kind of just never went back to it. And when I went to buy my full face of new Ulta makeup, I was going to buy a Too Faced Pressed Matte Powder, the Born This Way powder, but it was expensive, and I don't know, I just for some reason decided to stick with what I know. So I feel like it's pretty well, it's not really tacky. I mean, it has a slight cool texture to it, like it might be still wet, but I don't really think that it is, because I'm not really getting any well, actually, I'm getting a little bit of transfer on my fingers. Maybe that was from my concealer, my sponge. Let's try this clean hand and see if we get any transfer. Okay, so I'm really not getting any transfer. This must have been from my sponge or something. So I like that powder. I like the finish it has to it. The concealer, now that I've baked away, there is some creasing in there, but like that's pretty typical for me. I don't know that I've ever found a concealer and a setting powder that completely eliminates my creasing, but it's not settling into those creases, which is good. It just, you know, it's the natural crease in my lid. Everything else looks really good. I love the finish to it. It's just so matte but natural looking. It looks really good. So let's bronze up then. For bronzer, I grabbed the Prime Infused Bronzer, which I don't know what Primer Infused Bronzer means. Forever Sunkissed, it's for long lasting wear. It says, this long-wearing bronzer is infused with primer powder to ensure a full day of bronzed glow. Use the long-wearing bronzer to give your face that sun-kissed glow all day long. The bronzer is smooth and easy to apply while adhering to the skin for long-lasting wear. So I got this in the shade Forever Sun-Kissed, actually is what the shade is. Just a really pretty, there's no mirror or anything in it, but it is a very pretty cool toned. It's not one of those ones that are super warm toned. So I'm gonna take my regular bronzer brush and dip her in. So right away I do notice not an extreme amount, but there is some kickback when you dip your brush in there. So I do feel like I mean, it's pretty. It definitely goes on really strong, but I don't feel like it blended out super easy. Like, it took a lot of back and forth rubbing over it to kind of get it to blend onto those cheeks. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Let's go ahead and try out this side. Maybe I dipped into too much product on that side. I mean, I definitely bronzed up, that's for sure. So I feel like it is adhering to the skin kind of weird, like patchy. I mean, I feel like it's patchy right here on my forehead. And I feel like I also have like a weird patchy spot like right in here. So this side doesn't look too patchy. I mean, maybe a little bit right in here. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that bronzer? I mean, it's pretty. The color is very pretty. But if it's going to be patchy like that, I don't know that I like that. But the color itself is very pretty. I really like the color. I'm gonna go ahead and contour my nose really quickly. It makes a really pretty nose contour though. Very strong. I kind of feel like I want to take my brush and kind of you know, give it a little blend. But it's very pretty. I like that. Okay. So let's do blush first. They didn't have very many blush choices. Let's see. So this is also the same. This is the primer infused blush in the shade Always Rosy. This says it's infused with the primer, ensure for full day perfect placed blush. So basically the same thing that the bronzer said. Same packaging. And just this really nice, pretty nude blush shade. Just a real rosy shade like it said. Oh, I like that a lot actually. Very pretty. Now I don't know if it's my angle or if I'm using less product, but I feel like this side's a lot heavier and darker than this side. Like this side it just keeps applying a lot softer and smoother, and maybe it's because I'm kind of breaking into that product. Wow, I got really blushy. Okay. Breaking into that product over that first layer and kind of getting more into it. I don't know. I'm gonna add a little onto the forehead though, I think. But I got a little carried away, not gonna lie, with that blush. And this one also has a lot of kickback coming off of it. What a fallout there. So they're kind of chalky in the pans, but once you get them on your skin, they seem to kind of set down really well. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to like blend that out a little bit because I feel like we got a little too intense with some of that product there. Woo. For highlight, I also went, so this is a metallic flare highlight in the shade White Gold in the same packaging as the bronzer and the blush. Now this one says, first there was glow, then there was dew, now there's flare. Get multi-dimensional highlighters, high luster glow with the metallic powder highlighter. This buttery soft high shimmer formula gets into the skin for the ultimate highlight. Okay. I mean, you promising a lot there, and I'm a highlight lover, so you better be good is all I'm saying. Same, very similar packaging, not exactly the same, but very similar. The whole top on this one is clear plastic versus black plastic with a clear center. She looks gorgeous. I mean, she's got a really pretty, I like the kind of geometric look she's got to her. She's ridged, so she's not as buttery as they say just because of the ridges make it, you know. But I mean, that's gorgeous. I really have kind of high hopes for this highlight now. Let's swatch her on the back of our hand and see. She feels chalky on my hand. But, I mean, look at that finger, though. Like, it's not coming off the finger. It's staying on there. Let's grab, I'm just going to start out with my Crown Jumbo Kabuki fan brush and see if we can get a good highlight with this one. So I'm getting a lot of kickback or fallout from this guy as well. It's very dusty. Don't feel real buttery. Okay. It just took a lot of working into the product, and maybe it's working off that first layer. And then, okay, that turned out really pretty, actually. That's a nice high beam. So I think you just need a good couple of coats on this highlight, but you can really work her up to something gorgeous. I mean, that's pretty. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. At first I was maybe a little disappointed. I kind of felt like, okay, this isn't really giving me what it promised. When I think buttery highlights, I think if you get this nice soft glide and you swoosh and you're gorgeous. But, you know, I mean, after working with it a few, you know, layers, it definitely makes a stunning highlight. So keep that in mind when you're using it, that she's kind of one of those highlights you just gotta layer a little bit. You know, you gotta work with her. Gotta warm her up before she gives you all she's got. So, but she's very pretty. They had one other highlight in this collection, at least the Ulta I went to, that was a little darker. I think I went with the lighter of the two. Let's go ahead and set our face down before we jump into the eyes, just to kind of really sink our skin in before we get in the eyes, and we'll do my little setting afterwards. So this is the e.l.f. Makeup Setting Mist. It says it's clear. I don't know what that means. Okay, so it's in a little square little bottle. Prevent colors from running or fading to help keep your makeup in place all day. The lightweight, oil-free formula helps soothe the skin with key ingredients: aloe, green tea, cucumber, and vitamin A, C, and E. So I'm just gonna give her a nice little spritz down. I always like to test these first. You know, I don't know why, but okay, so that has a really pretty wet, heavy spray. I got a little bit of that in my mouth. I'm used to the Morphe Continuous Mist. It's got just this fine mist, just kind of wetter and heavier than I was expecting, but it's not bad. It doesn't really have a scent at all to it, which is kind of nice, especially if you are fragrant sensitive. Now for eyeshadow palettes, I spent a lot of time staring at the palettes trying to decide which one I wanted, just because it's always like, I'm always drawn to one right away, but it's because it looks like every other palette I own. You know, there's nothing that stands out about it, nothing different than what I would normally use. So I go back and forth between, do I get one that I can use regularly, or do I get one that I can, you know, make specific looks out of? It's a struggle of mine. You know, I don't want to get a palette that I'm only going to use once or twice, but I also don't want to get a palette that has the same shades that every one of my palettes has. But I went with one that is kind of in between. It's got a lot of, it's just a neutral. This is the Rose Gold Nude palette. I just thought it was very pretty. So it doesn't have any mirrors or anything. It's a nice neutral palette. It's got a good amount of shimmers and mattes. So let's start with the, I don't know if there are names. These shades don't have names, but I'm gonna start with the matte, kind of taupey, slightly purpley taupey shade here. And I'm gonna work that into the crease. So there is also, again, some kickback you can see in this shade from the shade I use next to it, but they're pretty pigmented. It seemed to blend out pretty smoothly, pretty easily, so I like that. Looking at the shade, I think I want to dip into the purple shimmery shade, kind of right in the middle there. It just kind of calls to me. I'm going to take just a little packing brush, and I'm going to spritz her down just because I feel like these shades are shimmery. They're probably going to work best with a wet brush. Okay, she definitely softens up real fast when she's wet. I'm just going to work that over the lid. This shade reminds me a lot of the Cover FX Shimmer Veil in the shade Amethyst or Amethyst? Amethyst? Is that what it's called? No, I can't remember. But it's just it made it almost like a foil shade, wetting it down. Or like a liquid eyeshadow. Like, it's just so creamy. I think I'm just going to set that whole lid. So my brush is kind of starting to dry out, and you can see I'm not getting near the payoff on this side that I was on that side. So we're going to go back in, wet our brush down a little more. I mean, it literally just makes like this, I wish my brush would focus better. Literally makes just this gooey, wet substance, liquidy substance on the brush. And then it coats so beautifully on the lid like that. That's really pretty, just soft and gorgeous. I'm gonna swatch. So they're very buttery when you swatch them. Even both the matte and the they swatch pretty seamlessly, pretty soft and pretty. I mean, I feel like this is a very like smoky nude palette. Next, I'm gonna go in with the next darkest matte shade over on this side. And I'm gonna kind of work that in the outer crease. Again, these shadows are kind of dusty, so just kind of be careful of that. I think I got a good amount of depth out there. So I'm just going to take my favorite blending brush. Just give everything a nice little blend. Really love how soft this look is. It's so pretty. I'm going to take my brush though and just kind of sweep under the eyes just to get any kind of fallout. There's not really a lot, but there is a little bit just on the cheeks there, so just swept that away, and it seemed like it swept off pretty good. I don't really have like chunks laying there anymore. So now for my inner corner highlight, I think I'm going to take this really light shimmery shade and I'm going to pop that in there. Now this is working with a dry brush, so we're going to see what kind of payoff we can get working with the dry product here. And actually, even dry, it still gave me a very bright, shimmery, metallic look to it. So their shimmers are just very pigmented, very metallic shimmers that are gorgeous. Now I want to smoke out the lower lash line just a hair. Let's go into the shade that we used to build up some depth. I think that'll be a good shade. So I didn't buy an eyeliner, so we're not going to do any eyeliner, but I am going to do mascara. This is the Lash Extending in the shade Black. This looks like it has just a pretty typical standard like lash brush here. Let's go ahead and give my lashes a good coat. Okay, not a great mascara, but what do you expect when you're paying $4 for the mascara? I don't love it. I mean, it's just very, I don't know, it's not great. But that's why we have lashes. These are the Luxe Lash Kit Winged and Bold is what they're called. Multi-dimensional lashes for volume and length. They looked really pretty, so let's see, let's get them out of the package here. So on the back it says for a real look, multi-dimensional layers for a real look, which the Kiss lashes and the style was called Gala. Those were really pretty, and those are multi-dimensional. So it does come with little tweezers if you need them, which I might just use these because my other tweezers are over there. They don't come with glue, but I just bought a new pack of, or a new bottle or tube of Duo lash glue. So I think that these are going to be too long, that I need to trim them down a bit, but let's just take a look at them. Not terrible, but I am going to trim them a little bit. I think these are going to be really soft and gorgeous. They're not super thick lashes. They are, I think, going to have more of a natural look to them. So I'm going to throw my lashes on and I'll be right back, you guys. You guys, these lashes are so pretty and soft and natural. I mean, they're gorgeous. They're not super thick or super long, but like, look how pretty those are. Love these lashes. Okay, I'm really happy with them. They're still kind of drying down a little bit, but while they're drying, let's go ahead and move into the lip. I went with a liquid matte lipstick. This is in the shade Berry Sorbet. It's this really pretty kind of fuchsia color. Let me get this sticker off here first. So it just looked weird in the bottle. Like, I don't know, maybe it's because it was suctioned in there. But I went and mixed it all together. Oh, it's got this really large, kind of funky doe foot applicator. But I'm just going to go ahead and put this on. We'll see. So this lip right away has a really buttery, creamy, soft texture to it. Like it looks really matte instantly, but it glides on the lips so good. Alright, so I struggled way too long trying to get my Cupid's bow to look semi-even. I don't know what's going on with that today, but it's just definitely matte down. It's not buttery or creamy anymore. It is matte and dry. Like if you rub your lips together, I feel like you're gonna be peeling product up kind of, but it's not uncomfortable, but it's definitely matte. I really like the color. I like that it adds a little pop to the eye look because the eye look is so neutral and nude and pretty. It's soft that the lip just adds some color. But I'm just going to go ahead and set, now that I've got my eyes on and my face is completely done, I'm going to set it again using the same setting mist. Again, little shock at how wet and heavy that comes out at you. But it looks good. So overall, I really like the way this look turned out. It's very pretty. There were a few kind of questionable things, but the bronzer, once I blushed it up and highlighted, it looked really good. I did get a little carried away with the blush at one point, but I think it all settled down pretty nicely. The foundation has a really nice, it actually looks like the perfect shade for me, I think. The concealer has some creasing under the eyes, but that's pretty typical for me. I can see my pores quite a bit still, so the primer may be mattifying, but it's not really pore filling, which this, I mean, I guess it didn't really, did it claim that it was a pore filling primer? No, it just says it has a velvety texture and it's mattifying, so I get that. But yeah, it didn't do a great job covering the pores. I'd say my favorite products are the lashes. I love the lashes, and I really like the setting powder. It was very just soft and matte and pretty. Overall, I really like the way this look came out. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think. Please give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the month. Hopefully, that's just a few days away. But I'm really, fingers crossed, hoping to get to 100. So if you haven't subscribed and you like this video, please do it. I would really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.